Joining me next is editorial board member Matt Kaminski to talk about the Obama administration and Pakistan. Welcome, Matt.
Good to be here.
So let's start with the news today. We just learned that a U.S. drone strike in Pakistan earlier this week took out al-Qaeda's number 2. What can you tell us about this guy?
His name is Aby Yahya al-Libi. He's a Libyan who's been al-Qaeda for many years. He's in his late 40s. When bin Laden was killed last May, he apparently took over. Now, we don't have this confirmed. There was no press release, but he's said to be the number 2, or was the number 2 leader behind al-Zawahiri, Ayman al-Zawahiri, who took over as the number 1, the Egyptian. He was in charge of their Pakistani operations, and he was killed, it's worth noting, in the Pakistani tribal belt, which is probably the world's leading terrorist sanctuary, by a U.S. drone attack. It was the 3rd attack in 3 days on Monday, meaning yesterday. There were 2 strikes. I think it killed 15 people in all, and it's said to be the biggest blow against al-Qaeda since bin Laden's killing last year, although it's also worth noting that a similar drone attack took out the Yemeni cleric al-Awlaki in September, and last June as well there was a guy named Ilyas Kashmiri. So there's been this is probably the 4th big kill of last year.
So these drone attacks seem to be getting the job done, yet they remain highly controversial, Matt. Recently, reports in the press about Obama's so-called kill list and personally calling the shots. What's to be said for the criticism that these strikes have garnered versus the success?
Well, they're very unpopular among 3 constituencies. They're not happy. They're very unpopular with al-Qaeda itself, which is using them as a recruiting tool and is losing their main people. The Pakistanis are very unhappy because the government publicly at least complains this is a illegal act, a violation of their sovereignty, although they can't control the territory themselves. But the 3rd group is actually the American human rights community, some legal scholars who think this is illegal too. And it's been an ongoing argument that goes back to the Bush years, and it was revived after a story came out last week that said that Obama personally approves every single name on this so-called kill list. And I think it's something it's an interesting fight to have, because in a way Obama's having it with his own constituency, at least politically, because this tends to come obviously from the left, and I think he in some ways may want to get the stories out there to say that look how tough he's been on terrorism. The right actually does criticize him for not trying to capture more of these guys, that he's said no one's going to go to Guantanamo, we don't even know where we would interrogate anyone really if we did capture them on the global battlefield, one of these senior guys. So he's happy to kill them with a Hellfire missile, but less happy to capture them.
Just quickly, we've got about 30 seconds. These types of strikes, using drones and so forth, does the administration plan to keep this up even as we're withdrawing troops from Afghanistan next year? Oh,
certainly. And I think we're going to keep some troops, and the troops that we do keep in Afghanistan after 2014 will be probably there in part to manage sort of further drone operations. I mean, drones are a tactical, a very surgical strike against enemy combatants who are committed to attacking our soldiers in Afghanistan, but more importantly to carrying out terrorist attacks here.